Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I'm going to get our meeting started today. It's wonderful to be back. I missed a few meetings due to field work with my job. Going into rivers and testing rivers for water quality. It's such a hard job. No, it is, but it's also really a wonderful job too. So, but I'm glad to be back here with you. And it's a beautiful day. I got to ride a bike here from my office, which is great. So I'm all full of fresh air and energy. So today we have a couple of speakers. We have a full agenda. We have all of our roles filled. So I'm just really proud of us. So before we get started on all of our roles and have folks talk about their roles and explain to everyone what they're doing, I'm going to have our president, Justin Bellis, come up to the lectern and give us a joke to add a little levity to the start of our meeting. Justin.
Thank you. I'm a Toastmaster. What do you call a guy who's really loud? Mike.
Oh.
Why are frogs always so happy? They eat whatever bugs them.
Oh. Very good. I should have had a bee joke ready. In fact, it was Kim. Didn't she say, was it yesterday was National Bee Day? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Batman. It's awfully dark. In the dark room, Kim.
Oh, yeah. Let some light in so we can see you a little better. Whoa. You need one of the other. Yeah. Is that better? That's a little bit better. Little bit. Yeah.
There you go. You're sitting too far.
Muted, but we can see your face.
It's my backlighting in the camera. I need to fix that.
That's okay. I don't know. Sometimes I say the darker it gets, the better I look. No, you look great. All right, so let's get started with explaining our different roles that we're taking on today. So the first person I'm going to have speak is Don Thomas. He's going to tell us what the Table Topics Master does. Don.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. As Table Topics Master, I will create a table topic for us to speak impromptu and practice our impromptu speaking. It'll be 1 or 2 minutes on that.
Great. All right, thanks, Don. Always a lot of fun table topics is. Next, we're going to have Will Otto tell us what the general evaluator does.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. The purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout the meeting. During the meeting, I will take notes on everything that happens and doesn't happen. I will evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look for good examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Great. Next, out in Zoom land, we have Robin to tell us what the timer does. Robin.
Yes, as the timer, I help us learn how to stay on track so that when we are asked to speak in a meeting somewhere, we're able to stay within our time. Today, Kim has a 12-minute speech that he is delivering, and so I will give him the green folder at 10 minutes, the yellow folder at 11 minutes, and the red folder at 12 minutes. I will be timing myself on 3 to 5, but I probably will not stick up the folders in front of my face. And then for table topics, you'll have 1 to 2 minutes. So I will hold up the green at 1 minute, the yellow at 1.5, and the red at 2 minutes. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Great. Thank you so much, Robin. And then just to follow up for the evaluations and for the GE, it's 2 to 3 minutes.
Right? Oh, yes,
yeah,
correct.
It's amazing how much there is to talk about when you're the timer. Right, next we have Kathy Frost-Reese, and she's gonna tell us a little bit about what the grammarian, or as some of us say, the grammarian does.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. The grammarian is to count good word usage, abundance of good word usage, as well as words that detract. The word of the day is territory. Territory is defined as resembling a monster. I often find my grandchildren looking at territory videos on their phone, and I take it away because they have nightmares when they watch territory things. And my role today. Got a one off track.
Thank you, Kathy. Could you spell that?
TERATOID. Territory.
Territory. That's a word I have never heard before. Try to use that today. Okay, thank you everyone for explaining your roles. I think we're gonna jump right into our speeches today. So our first speaker will be introduced by their evaluator. So Justin Bellis, you'll be evaluating Kim today. All right. Justin.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing from Kim today, who's in the Zoom land on the computer. He's going to give a great speech titled Landing Zones, Identity and Role-Based Access Control. We're looking forward to this. So over to you, Kim.
Thank you, Justin. I wanted to add that this is a semi-technical presentation. And so hopefully some of the evaluation I'm asking Justin to do, he'll explain that later. So if this doesn't come across as something you understand, it is supposed to be a technical presentation. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about landing zones, identity, and role-based access control. Our goal is to be consistent with our messaging around landing zones and reach as broad as an audience as possible. Some of this material may be familiar to some of you. By now, you should have heard of landing zones. If not, I would encourage you to view the recording of Discover the Power of Landing Zones presented by Rick Olson. He gave a great overview presentation at the Tech COP and recently for the Tech Lunch and Learn on April 30th. In that presentation, he used the analogy of a house to explain the landing zones, so please check it out. I will link this video in the chat after the presentation. As a reminder, this presentation is one of many planned content from the Cloud Platform team. This is to highlight, share, and discuss landing zones at BECU. Today, my presentation will focus on role identity and role-based access control in the landing zone. We will cover the security model, where we are at, and how custom roles are created and managed, and how teams can grant access to their resource, and also how the partnership with the cybersecurity IAM team got us to this point. Please be on the lookout for other presentations in the coming weeks as we continue this series. There are policies and guardrails, networking and connectivity, and subscription vending. Before we continue, let's visit our existing security model in the legacy Azure environment. I'll start by saying it is complex and messy. Right now, we receive several tickets requests daily. These tickets almost always lack clarity and enough information, which require back and forth communication with the requesters. Here are some examples of tickets we receive. I need access to Azure. I don't have access to XYZ. Please add me to a group for access. These are the type of tickets we receive, and they are numerous. Additionally, with the lack of clarity and ticket process, it can it can sometimes go to a different team where it can sit for multiple days. Our goal is to improve on this process to reduce ticket toil and help our customer faster. I will share how we do this later in the slides. First, what is identity and role-based access control? You can find countless articles on the internet that will explain this technical concept. In the vein of this presentation and its intent, identity and role-based access control is a security model for managing and controlling access to Azure resource. I will identify 3 components of how we are implementing this security model in the landing zone. Let's go over the components now. This might be fundamental to some, but I've seen confusion in the past. For our example, we're going to use a real-world example of tech operations. The first component is identity. Identity is a person or a thing. In our case, let's assume this is a BECU employee. The second component is the role. This is the employee's job title, such as a software engineer, a developer, or a manager. The third component is access control. Access control is the security system and or teams that grants access based on the person's job title. This could be a combination of multiple teams, such as the cybersecurity IAM team or the cloud platform team. When we link these components together, the security model is a BECU employee who is an engineer who can do XYZ in the landing zone. It seems so simple. Now, what does the security model look like in our landing zone? Following the theme of our last slide on identity, let's look at our BECU employee with a regular account. This employee used their regular account every day to log into their computer and check emails. But the employee also has an engineering title. They need to be able to do engineering work, which is complex and require privileged access. Because of this, we need to give them a special badge. We call this special badge an AE account and denote it as a privileged admin account. Someone with this account is able to use it to do more things. As with any security best practice, this account is configured to rotate password every 24 hours and is also multi-factor authentication enabled, making it more secure than a regular account. Getting an AA account requires submitting ticket requests to the cybersecurity IAM team. In our example for role, we're going to continue with the engineering roles. For access control, we designate 3 custom roles: owner, contributor, and reader support. The action of assigning identity to the role is called role assignment. The first role assignment is owner. This grants permissions to do all things in your landing zone. In the theme of a landing zone being a house, this role can add someone to the title. The second role assignment is contributor. This grants permissions to all things in your landing zone except adding someone to the title. Again, in the theme of the house, you can construct, create, or destroy. The third role assignment is reader support. This is a unique role assigned to your regular account. This role grants 2 things. It will grant read permissions, and 2, it allows the user to submit a support ticket to Microsoft. Microsoft requires a valid email address, which is tied to your regular account. So how are we implementing this in the landing zone? In short, we implement this with the Power Automation and through vending. As mentioned in the landing zone overview presentation, the subscription vending process provides a way for us to stamp out a consistent landing zone product every time it is requested. We hand you your landing zone with the security model baked in, but we take this a step further. Let's assume we have multiple engineers to start any construction work, not just one person. Again, we'll represent these engineers as AA accounts. To allow multiple engineers the ability to do the same work, we make use of intra-group IDs. In our environment, we will call them cloud local groups. Once cloud local groups are created, AA accounts can be added as a member. It is through this intra-ID group membership that AA accounts are granted access. Then we assign the cloud local groups to the landing zone, which in doing so, grant multiple engineers the permissions to do their job. Finally, we also create 3 local groups to match each role assignments: owner, contributor, and reader support. Depending on your level, your account should be a member of one of these Cloud local groups. At this point, you should have a better understanding of the components in the security model and how we are implementing it. There are AA accounts, which are added as members of Cloud local groups and then assigned roles to grant access. It is to group membership that access is granted. In this slide, I want to highlight another benefit of our security model. Working with the cybersecurity IAM team, we can assign someone as owner of the Cloud local groups. Please do not be confused with this from the different owners role assignment that was mentioned in previous slide. We can designate the person or persons as manager of the as owners of the group and empowering managers to manage group membership. They should have the authority to decide who is granted access. This capability is a game changer as it reduces ticket toil and the burden of other teams having to make decisions on who can and cannot be granted access. If you are our manager and who is here listening to this presentation, I encourage you to review our guidance documentation to make this a success. While this presentation has solely been focused on actual user accounts, I do want to make a note on app registration or SPNs because they are unique and special accounts. These accounts are represented as app registration identity in the Intra ID portal. They are not tied to any actual users, but if you are an engineer or software developer, you should understand their usage in running pipeline deployments. SPNs still follow the same identity and role-based access control framework in our security model. SPNs are environment specific, so you will need one for each landing zone. At the time of this presentation, we have the capability of creating SPNs and role assignment as part of our automation. This is an opt-in request through ServiceNow, and more details will be shared at the subscription vending presentation. You have heard cybersecurity IAM mentioned multiple times so far. This is because they have been instrumental in helping us improve our security model. This slide summarizes and highlights the collaboration and accomplishment amongst our team. The collaboration to utilize AA accounts as a privileged admin account has increased our security stance. By providing the cloud platform team the ability to create cloud local groups and SPN through our automation pipeline, it would help reduce ticket requests. In addition, the decision to give managers ownership of cloud local groups gives them the ability to quickly get their teams working. This capability is new, and we are excited to support this new process. With all the collaboration and automation in place, we are solving the security model that is playing in the legacy environment. This is a big win. And with that, I'll end the presentation with some resource links in the slide. The BECU resources are internal links to our wiki and are written by the cloud platform team. The Microsoft links are used as resources in this presentation. Thank you for attending this presentation of identity and role-based access control in landing zones. Questions? And I will hand that back over to our Toastmaster.
Hey, thank you, Kim. That was really professionally done. And if I had understood more of those acronyms, I probably would have followed it better. But you did a great job. I think that I'm not sure it was the audience intended to be folks who work in IT.
Yeah, it's mostly the technology team. There's going to be some managers and directors that maybe have less of a concept on it. But for the most part, it'll be mostly folks that understand technology a little bit in the field that I'm in.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. It was well done. Now I'm gonna have ask Robin to give us 3 to 5 minutes. She's gonna tell us a little bit about some stuff that's happening in the district with Toastmasters, and after that we'll go into table topics. So, Robin.
All right, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. this weekend, we had a social, the first one that, our district, District 32, District 2, which is mostly like Seattle area, and District 9 were all invited to a social event. Since we had, all three districts had their in-person contests on Saturday, the no one from District 9 showed up because they would all still be in, off in their area, Eastern Washington, Idaho, that area. But we did have a showing of some of us from our district, especially anybody from Alaska was there that came down for our contest. And I got to meet some of the people from District 2. We also then had our election of officers for the district leadership on Tuesday. And they did voted on the realignment of the clubs. And that is actually what affects us the most. So when you just mostly experience Toastmasters within the club, you don't really get to know much difference in how the clubs are aligned. But having been area director several times, and I got to be more aware of what happens when they align the districts. And so what we now have, so we have been in District 32, Division C, Area 33, I believe is what we're in right now. Last year it had been 32, and we had previously been, I think, in 31. And so now we're actually going to be in District 2 because all three are being combined into one district, and it's called District 2. So we'll be in District 2, Division E, and Area 56. And if we're lucky, we are going to have Brandy as our area director next year. But one of the things that I wanted to kind of share with you is our division is now going to include just 2 areas that are in the Thurston County area. And then we're going to be moving up like to Sumner Federal Way area and even some parts of Seattle. So when we do our division contest, that's really where we're going to see a difference. And also like for the area directors, when you have in-person trainings and meetings, then they are likely to be further north than they have been before. And with that, but one thing, all of our district leadership, they all said that they're excited about this because getting to meet more Toastmasters is a good thing. When we get outside of the club and get to experience other members, get to experience how other people experience Toastmasters, that is one of the benefits of being part of an international organization. And, even like when you go traveling, you might decide to see what Toastmasters meetings might be in the area that you're going to be able to experience some of the benefits of being part of Toastmasters International. And with that, I will hand it back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you, Robin. Some exciting things are happening in Toastmasters. So Division E, District 2, Area 56. I've got to write that down. I'll replace so that I remember. And I do have to fill out my paperwork to see if I can become an area director. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be fun to go to different meetings, different clubs, and see how they do their Toastmasters meetings. And just learn more about Toastmasters in general. So thank you, Robin. And I would love at some point to hear, I wasn't able to make it to the district meeting, but it sounds like it went really well. Sounds like you said, Robin, in your message that it was maybe one of your best presentations for the international contest. And I didn't hear about how Kathy did, but I'm sure it was amazing. So anyway, a lot of exciting stuff happening. Next, we're going to go ahead and bring up Dawn to do some table topics with us. Oh, and we're pretty much right on time, so doing good.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
All right, good stuff.
All right, guys, we're gonna do table topics a little bit different today, actually. It's gonna be fun. So, one thing about table topics is, for me personally, I have a weakness in actually being in the spotlight and being a prop too. That is very difficult for me. Being on here doing table topics before, and I just completely lost my brain. So, this is what we're gonna do this time. I have topics. I'm gonna lay some topics on the table here. And we don't know what's on the back of it, of course, but I'm going to ask people to come up, just pick a random card and read out the card out loud, and it goes right into your table topic. And unfortunately, I will go first. I don't want to, but yeah, this is nerve-wracking for me, but let's try it. All right. Who are your role models? All right, that's a good one. So, I have a couple. Well, one role model, the first role model that come to mind when I read this card was, first of all, I have to start with actor. Actor-wise is Will Smith. When I was a kid, he was always my role model because he was always so cool and funny and stuff like that, and he seemed like a genuinely good guy. And then he followed that with his career of moving up to movies from shows and things like that. Another role model of mine is obviously to me, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He's a great role model because of what he did during the time that we needed somebody like him too. So that is my role models, and I'm not sure where I'm at on time, but let's just move it on to someone else. And also, if anyone in Zoom land, if you decide that you want to participate, we can have someone pull the card for you and read it out loud. So, who's next? Justin, let's go.
Like you, Don. What has been the most spiritually awakening experience of your life? That is amazing. Most spiritually awakening. There's so many things in life that's spiritually awakening. However, when I was young, I was pretty young, and my aunt told me about God. What is it? And that really spiritually awoke me to realize there is a God, and there is more than words. Things are created. And that really awoke me spiritually at that point in time in my life, just because there's so much, a lot of people trust in science, and there's some validity to that. But really, the Bible is true scientifically as well. Look at it non-objectively, everything scientifically is accurate. Over the years, as I've challenged that truth, it's become true. That was really good spiritual. Not that I've been spiritual minded. It's a different subject, but that was definitely the most spiritual awakening I ate. So with that, I'll pass it on to the next.
Yeah. All right. Good job. Thank you. All right. Who wants to go next? Let's do it.
I'll
This is
do it.
fun. This is fun.
All right. Table topics, the most territory part of the meeting. All right, I'll pick a card. All right. What change would you make, or would you most like to make for your health? All right. I would say I need to work on stretching more. I am very inflexible. Very, very inflexible. Also, I have my back's really messed up. It's the curve. I forget what the term is, but my lower spine, the curve is 97% less than it should be. So I'm scoliosis adjacent. So if I don't stay active, I kind of fall apart immediately. And I always noticed that when I would stretch and do yoga, I would always feel at my best for that. Plus, I'm very uncoordinated, so I follow over myself. Yeah, I've twisted my ankle just standing in one spot and needed crutches for a few weeks, but I see that the card is green, so I am done. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. All right, do we have time for any more? All right, anybody wants to go? Volunteers? Kathy? Let's do it.
Question, when you ask a psychic, but I'm gonna teach you. Thank you, table topics master, fellow Toastmasters. Since I don't believe in psychic, I would not ask the psychic a question. However, if I did believe in a psychic, the question I would ask is, where do you see me in the year 25, no, we're already. Where do you see me in the year 2050? Where do you see me? Because I have an idea of where I will be, have an idea of what I will be doing. I want to see if the psychic knows and is truthful about where I will be. I don't anticipate any territory activity. I do anticipate bright horizons, new ventures. And that will be where I will be.
All right, who's next? Anyone Zoom land? All right, let's go, Brandon. Let's do it.
Mr. Table Topics Master. If you got a tattoo, what would you get and where would you put it? That one is so apropos to me because I've been thinking about my next tattoo. Most of you probably noticed I have tattoos on my hands. These are traditional stick and poke tattoos that represent my Alaska Native heritage. My niece, who is a tattoo artist, did these for me. She did my hands separately because it does hurt a little bit. So we did this hand 1 month and a few months later we did this one. I'm seeing her in July and I've been thinking about something on my forearm. I just have to kind of come up with a design based on some of the design books that I've looked at for Inuit and Yupik and some of those types of designs. Very similar to my heritage, which is actually Sukpiat, but we are a lesser known Alaska Native tribe because there's fewer of us and there's not as much information. So we kind of tend to look at like Inuit and Yupik folks do. So that would be where I would go with a tattoo. And really that was an easy table topics for me. It was a lot easier than the ones I got during the contest, that's for sure.
All right, where we at on time?
We're probably good unless Robin or Kim are itching to do one. Maybe not, maybe so, okay.
All right, with that, I'll pass it on back to the Toastmaster. Thank you, guys.
Yes, all right, thank you, God. I really do love it. It's scary, but it's fun. It's fun. Doing it at the contest was really scary because you have no idea, and you know you have to woo the judges, right? It's not more than just speaking for a minute, and then you have to go over 2 minutes. Well, next we are going to bring Justin up to give his evaluation of Kim's technical speech that he gave earlier. Justin.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I am here to evaluate Kim on his speech of the landing zones. Nice presentation, Kim. Can you hear me okay? You look kind of territoid out there.
Will, can I ask you to move the mic that's in front of you just down a little bit? Yeah.
That better?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. Yep, way better. Thanks, Justin and Will and Kathy.
You still look kind of territoid, so that's something I'll have to challenge yourself on. I'll give you the good, better, best. I'll start with what you can challenge yourself on. You asked for me to see your face or eye contact with the camera. I couldn't see that because you're darked out. You look better right now, but during the presentation, you couldn't really see your face at all. Just the shadow. Also, to challenge yourself on voice inflection. It just sounded uniform, like you were reading the script. And I know in person here, when you've explained stuff to us, you do a really good job of getting personable and speaking, changing your voice. During the presentation, it just felt like you were just reading through some script. But I feel like you could challenge yourself on making it more personable, maybe picturing somebody there with you, you're explaining it. But you've done a really good job explaining things to me in person. Also, you may want to work on the first slide. I noticed that the whole left side was blank, left side from my view. Maybe fill that slide up a little bit. A couple of the yellow highlighted squares for my end were cut off on the bottom, I noticed. Those were some feedback to work on. Let me think if there's anything else. Yeah, that was good. Otherwise, you did have, it was very easy to understand. I could understand what you were saying. You had good transition. These are a couple of points you're asking me to evaluate on. So it was understandable. I felt like you did a really good job of walking us through it. You gave us a little bit of overview of what you're going to talk about. And then you went into what the whole process was. And then you ended really strong with a good summary and overview. At the very end, you reiterated everything you talked about. So really helped implant it in my head on what you're going over and why. You also explained why. You shared good resources at the end, and you had a good opportunity to ask us for questions. I assume you're going to leave some time for questions there. So that was really nice to have that if people didn't understand exactly what was going on. Again, you had a good resource reference, not only at the beginning, you mentioned where you're drawing it from, so that was really helpful. And then I really liked at the end, you had the list of resources for if we wanted to research it further. What else did I have? Good understanding, good transitions. That's what I had for you. So I think it was a good overall presentation. A couple key points is the way you appear on the screen and then the voice.
Good. Nicely done. Next, I'm going to ask Will Otto to come up to the lectern and lead us our general evaluation of the meeting. And I will say we are right on time. Put that in your general evaluation.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you.
All right, well, great job, everybody. Another good meeting. We did start, I think it ended up being 2 minutes late, but as Brandy said, we caught up and got everything running on time and made up for it. Just a few things. One thing being we didn't have a gavel at the start of the meeting. Can you just buy one, or is there any? I don't know if we're supposed to use any Toastmasters. So that's just something we can look into ordering here in a little bit. One thing, it wasn't an issue today, but it might be a good idea to kind of set a precedent for when coming up to the podium. We do a good job for the different roles, but at the beginning, are we just kind of deciding if when we describe what we're doing, if we should come up to the podium or just stand? I've noticed we've gone back and forth on that a couple different times. Also, most of our roles were filled out already. I would say maybe we haven't done it the past couple of times, but at the end of the meeting, just ask what roles people want, just so we have kind of a format going. And then moving on. Robin, you did a good job describing all the changes going on and giving us a heads up of what's going on. I noticed when you first started, you kind of took a little bit to get going. You kind of were talking about different little mini stories about the meeting, which is good, but it kind of makes it easy to get lost. And then also when you kind of return to going back about how the clubs do things differently. So maybe you could have considered going into detail about that. Moving on, Don, I liked that you put the cards on the table. That was a fun way to do it. Glad nobody got the cabin question. But yeah, it was fun. I liked how you did it. And then Justin, you gave some good actionable advice to Kim. But overall, it was a good meeting. So I will hand it back over to you, Madam Toastmaster. Oh, yeah. Almost forgot that. All right, I'll call up the different roles to give their presentations. I believe I start with the. Oh, I forgot.
Whatever one.
Oh, all right.
Timer's first, but she can do each other.
All right, we'll start with the timer. Robin, how did everybody do?
All right, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Today, Kim's speech was 11 minutes and 46 seconds. My talk was 4 minutes. Don, your table topic, I wasn't quite paying attention at the beginning, so you had about 45 seconds. Justin, you were at 109. Will, you were at 119. Kathy at 110. Brandy at 123. And Justin, you were at 347. And Will, you were at 235. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
All right, thank you, Madam Timer. Kathy, would you like to give us the RBAC report?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I'll start with you, Will. Your good word usage included actionable advice, gavel, set of precedents. You didn't say this, but the system what I derived from what you said, detail and fun way. You also used the word of the day. One. And you had 3 ands, 8 us, 16 3 so's. Brandy, good word usage, amazing word of the day. No, not word of the day. Woo. That was it. Woo. Something you said about woo. And apropos had 2, forearm, and then your Inuit and I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Supiat. Trying to phonetic.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Words that detract, once, so 4 times, and 5 times. Justin, good word usage, shadow. You had 2 words of the day. Good word usage included resource, reiterated, walking through, overview, voice inflection. Good opportunity. Words that detract were and 7 times, so 5 times. A duplicate, so many. Oh, good word usage, voice inflection. I don't know if I said that, and there is. Kim, good word usage, a lot, because I don't know all these words. I'll run through some: security stands, privilege, admin, fundamental, implementing security, improve process, connectivity, guardrails, custom roles, countless articles, landing zone, collaboration, security stands, many more. Words that detract were mostly duplicates. you have a lot of duplications, such as it's, here are, from the, but the, as many, and specific was how I heard it. In running, that said, and the word security sounded like security. That's what it sounded like. And if you're giving this presentation, you might want to consider when you say the words that are in your slide that you enunciate them and slow your rate. I think that would help with the pronunciation. Words that detract, and 3 times, so 2 times. Last but not least, no, 2 more. Robbing, good word usage, experience other clubs, international district 2, division E, area 56. Double words. We had, funda, to be able. Other words that detract, 1 time, and 10 times. 11, once, so 4. Don, good word usage, spotlight, impromptu. 1 double word, he, words that detract, and 5 times, 4 times, 2 times, 1, so. I had several ands, ofs, 1 word of the day. Woo.
All right, I do believe that is it, so I will hand it back over to Justin, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you. It's a great meeting. I always appreciate our meetings. You never know what we're gonna come to. We had a great presentation by Kim. It really was for his work. And I like that we're able to do that. We have a presentation.
Yep.
Anything like that. Mom gave us a great one with the juice one time. It was great. Can I even taste it? I can still taste it. Really nice. And we got different ideas with the cards. So it's always good. It's always fun to come and see what we're gonna have. And somebody wrote a bike in today and
They can't see it, I'll bike it over while you're talking.
Oh, here we go, get some front and center bikes. Looks like an e-bike.
A hybrid commuter, you can see that? Probably can't see that very well. In the distance. Go ahead and pick it up. It's heavy.
Oh, wow, that looks really nice.
It's not my bike, but it's it's your bike. Because it's paid for by the citizens of.
That's all it's gonna be.
Wow.
Hi, bike.
I've been eyeballing those for a while and I was like, can I check that out and take it to Toastmasters? You're like, yeah.
All right, back on.
Sorry. I got all excited.
Anyway, good meeting, so appreciate everything that everybody has to offer. And pretty soon we'll have some new officers here. So that's exciting too.
When do the new officers get voted in?
We already voted.
Oh, but when do
So
they?
you are the treasurer.
I know, I'm so excited. But when don't we have to do like an official?
Yeah, we should do that either the last meeting in June or the first meeting in July, as whenever the most of the officers can make it.
Okay,
Ideally, everybody, but if we can't get everybody, then the majority, as many as we can, then we choose in sometime in there, and then the incoming president, me, once I'm installed, anybody who doesn't make that meeting, then I would be able to install them at their first available meeting.
I guess it's the swearing in, is that what it is?
Yep.
Kathy's on the secretary.
I found out.
Everybody.
Oh, roles for next.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we can do that after we.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and close the meeting, and we can end the recording, and then I'll write down any roles that people want to take.
Sounds good. I'll close the meeting.
Nice.
roles.